think you were jousting with Mr. Jordan last night. Were you two being childlike on Twitter last night? And then Trevor comes in with just a coincidence, not a narrative, that the media want to report on full details rather than give credit to Manchester City for another superb signing and being the most attractive project, i.e. the manager, the teammates involved, the club, the prospects. £51 million should be the headline. Is this you schooling the media on this one?
Well, no, this is me just looking at it and looking at certain conditions which you see attached to certain signings. And when it's a Manchester City player being signed, it's the contract, what the agents are getting paid, what the transfer fee is, all the add-ons. And when it's other clubs, it's just what they're paying for him.
So you think the media, when it comes to Manchester City, inflate the figure?
I agree with Pep. I don't think all fans want Liverpool to win, but I think a lot of the media are quite biased towards Liverpool over Manchester City.
Do you think that what are you saying?
The reason why I was pushing back on it, because it's nonsense. You cannot say anything about Manchester City that isn't exactly singled and centred in praise without someone crying about it. You cannot make a single observation about Man City that isn't centred in how wonderful they are without one of their fans or one of their supporters in the media having some reaction to it. You didn't buy. There was no acumen in buying Haaland.
Sam Wallace, £250 million. He's the chief sports writer. That's the headlines that he put.
Yeah.
So you're talking nonsense.
What's that got to do with the price of cheese?
Well, he's £51 million, Simon.
Sure.
So why is it 250 million?
Because that's probably what it would cost.
No. Because when Jadon Sancho, again from Borussia Dortmund, signed, it was 73 million. It wasn't 73 million plus his 350 grand a week wages, plus his agent's fees, plus this.
I'm not deaf.
I'm just telling you.
I'm not deaf. I can hear you.
There's a bias.
Was the same journalist writing the same article?
Well, no, that was the same journalist that wrote if Manchester City won all 4 titles,
did Sam Wallace,
and then if Liverpool, and the complete different stories.
We've seen Luke Edwards do that.
There's a massive bias.
Comparing and
I can't bother arguing about it.
You just said Sam Wallace. So what was the point you were making there? One journalist writes an article about £73 million for a player. Another journalist does a forensic deeper dive and does it differently. So what you're saying is there's a standard way to meet your expectations.
There's certain journalists that write one article saying we can't allow Manchester City to win the quadruple.
Yes,
2 years later,
we've seen that.
Exactly.
We've all said that.
That's the narrative.
But we've all said that. We've called that out. We've said that was actually. Look at the hypocrisy of that. If the quadruple's bad for one team, it's bad for another.
On Sky yesterday, it was a 250 million deal, but it's a 51 million pound transfer fee.
So different people.
But it's not, Simon.
There's a different way to create interest and to keep the media cycle going. We all know that the media.
It's a boring story because Manchester City are due diligence, data, and getting great players to sign for the club because it's a great project.
Where's the due diligence in signing Erling Haaland? Blind Pew could have signed Erling Haaland.
Well, no, they could have.
Nothing true. You said
lots of other clubs wanted to, but you've got to have the full package to be able to attract a player like that.
You've got to be able to pay him whatever
he wants.
Whatever wages he wants.
Stuck to the wage structure. Loads of clubs could have paid him that.
But Trevor, is this wrong? Does this demonstrate any bias? Trevor, does this?
Because if you're going to pay Sancho 350 million, they're going to pay him 370 million.
Okay. On that basis, on what? So they're going to continue to do
it
just
you've got a player that's
so.
breaking records, centre forward, which we both know get paid more than anyone else on the pitch ordinarily. Sure. Yeah. So if you've got a centre forward that you can bring in for £370,000 a week, £20,000 a week more than what you're paying a winger. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're getting him for a lot cheaper.
So the bottom line is that you were advancing a case that there was shrewdness behind Pep Guardiola. The transfer fee was done. Nothing to do with Man City. It was done. Everyone could have made that.
Well, no, they could have made it last year and gone in and just spent silly money.
We've just discussed the fact that there's another £35 million worth of add-ons that could be finding him into his salary. So it may not be £375,000 a week, Trevor. It may be £500,000 a week.
And if we're going to start talking about money going out of football, look at Manchester United, a great club. The Glaziers are taking money out of that football club like you wouldn't believe. Let's talk about big things rather than talking about silly things.
No, but we're talking about Manchester City, though.
I don't think agents' fees should be involved anyway.
We now agree the total cost of the deal to Manchester City comes to about £85.6 million.
Yeah.
Now you're saying in your tweet, I mean you are talking about it because you tweeted about it last night. Give credit to Manchester City for another superb signing. So should we give credit to Manchester City from the point of view that 34 million quid is going to the player and his agents.
But that's out of Manchester City's hands. If they want to sign this player, they're the stipulations that come with this deal.
It's not out of Man City's hands. It's in Man City's hands. It's because of Man City that these sort of transactions happen.
Oh, right. It's Manchester
and because
City's
of Manchester,
fault
no,
again.
hold on.
Good
no,
one.
well, and because of Manchester United, and because of Chelsea,
All
because
clubs
of the
pay
preparations
agents'
and the
fees,
preparedness to make. Well, it should be the player paying the agent's fee, shouldn't it? Because the agent works for the player.
I think it should be governed. I think it should be governed personally.
Trevor, I don't
whether it's
detect
one
much
club or another.
media
I think the
bias.
whole thing should be governed.
I don't detect much media bias towards City. We pointed that out. Simon and I did it the other day, but the writer in the Telegraph.
Yeah, it was wrong. Luke Edwards was the writer.
Luke Edwards was the writer then. But there is media bias in that you're biased towards them.
I'm a fan of Manchester City, yes.
You can be a fan.
But there's not many Manchester City people who are quite proactive
But because
about
you're
Manchester
such a
City.
fan of Manchester City,
But I'm talking
you
facts.
constantly push the narrative that in the media there's anti-Manchester City.
Because that's what I see all the time.
bias.
I can only say what I see, Jim. And that's what I see.
But I don't
And
understand.
I've just given you a couple of instances. Sam Wallace saying it's a £250 million
I'll
deal.
just try and
bias.
summarise it
Why
for
is
you.
that a bias?
That's not a bias.
That's just an
It's not
observation.
in the interests of the
But
media
it
to be biased towards Manchester City.
But when Sam Wallace wrote about another player coming from Borussia Dortmund, he didn't say, "Oh, Manchester City are going to earn 19 point something million out of this deal." The initial 8 million that they sold him to Borussia Dortmund and 11.5 million, which they recouped on 20% sell-on fee, but they didn't put his agent's fees, his wages, and all this on top.
When it comes to Manchester City and a transfer involving Manchester City, journalists immediately inflate the deal.
That's what I'm seeing, yeah.
But it's
and if you want to talk about a good deal that's going under the radar, let's talk about Julian Alvarez. He's coming from River Plate. £15 million we're going to pay for him. He's just got Argentinian Player of the Year, top goal scorer, just won the league. He's coming in this summer as well. So let's not talk about all these big fees that Manchester City is supposed to be ruining football. They're bringing in unbelievable players because their due diligence is superb, their data, and they're doing things better than other football
Here's the
clubs.
situation, though, Trevor. The media is not part of its makeup to give credit to Manchester City. You're saying in your tweet last night, you're doing it because you're a fan and a former player. Give credit to Manchester City for this deal with Haaland. No. We're not cheerleaders for Manchester City. The same as we're not really giving credit to Liverpool for 45 million for Luis Diaz. Because that's not our job.
You've just been giving credit to them for Diaz and the impact that he's had.
No, we've been balancing the argument that you advanced.
Oh, right, okay.
We've been balancing
I
the
thought you
argument
was giving them
We're not
credit.
out to give credit to
Well, that's
these
what Simon
clubs.
was just doing.
Well
giving credit
done,
to
Man
Diaz.
City.
I wasn't
Well done,
Breaking up
Liverpool.
the famous three.
For
That's
doing
what he
what
said.
they
I wasn't
expected to
allowing
do.
you to go off on some ridiculous
I wasn't.
one-dimensional
I was just saying
tangent
factual
where
things.
everything good is Manchester City and everything bad is everybody else.
No, that's
there
not.
has to be balance.
That's your narrative. What you're
it's not-
getting
I don't
from
have
it.
a
That's not
narrative.
what I said.
Manchester City are a brilliant football team. They're an awful dynamic for the finances of football. And the European Super League came about because of teams like Man City. And it was badged up as super greed when really what it was about was trying to control the money that's flowing out to players, to agents, because it's gone off the clock. Because
I
of Man
agree with
City and
that.
PSG.
Not because of Manchester
So that doesn't
City.
make Man City the
A lot
devil
of clubs-
incarnate.
A lot of clubs.
It doesn't
are
make
doing
Man
that.
City and Chelsea and PSG the devil incarnate. It makes them accountable, and it means that people can have a rational discussion about something. You can't have rational discussions with people, it seems, unless you agree with their point of view.
It's not that. The status quo has changed. Clubs like Manchester United, Real Madrid and Barcelona that used to run things, and Bayern Munich, they're no longer
But I
doing
don't have a
things.
vested
Deal
interest
with
in the
it.
status quo. I had a vested interest in owning a football club that was trying to be competitive. So I don't sit here going, I really want Man City to maintain the status quo. I really want Liverpool to maintain the status quo. I don't have that motivation because they're not teams I particularly support. What I want is the best for football, and I genuinely do not believe that the way that Man City operate, the way that PSG operate, the way Chelsea
But all the
operated
clubs operate
are
the
the
same
best
way
for football.
They can't. They have to stay within financial fair
But they
play.
don't.
Well, of course
And
they
they
do.
don't, and they're going to
Of
get
course
found
they-
out.
Okay.
And the Premier League,
How
when
long
they finish their investigation,
2014 this started.
When
They
the
still
Prem-
can't get the
when the
evidence.
Premier League-
I would say that it's probably not
when
there.
the Premier
I
League
think
are
your
allowed to
tonsils
do
are playing up again, Trevor. They're not.
No?
When the Premier
They're all
League are allowed to do their investigation that isn't qualified by time limits, which doesn't have a 5-year time limit like the Court of Arbitration of Sport has, then we will find out the reality of how Man City really
And until
operate.
that day, they are innocent, Simon.
No, they're not. They've already been found guilty. In
I just saw one
2011.
tweet go through there, guys. We will move on. It's a brilliant one. I've got to read you it. I'm just listening to these through White, Jordan, and Sinclair. Give 10-1 to Matterface, Jacobs, and Keown. Now, I'd listen to that. Oh my God, would I listen to that? There wouldn't be enough room on the fence.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.